The results of the West Bengal election triggered a series of immediate security alerts within the governments of two neighboring sovereign nations. In Pakistan, defense analysts claimed a military strike was imminent. In Bangladesh, politicians took to the floor of their parliament to warn of a sudden, uncontrollable refugee collapse heading toward their borders. These governments responded to a standard democratic process as if it were a declaration of war. It raises the question of why a single state-level victory would cause such high-level alarm across international borders. This specific reaction from outside powers indicates that West Bengal is more than a political territory. Its location makes it the central link in the Eastern geopolitical security apparatus. For decades, West Bengal operated as an impenetrable fortress for opposition politics. It functioned independently from the security priorities of the federal government in New Delhi. This political friction created a porous border in the east. Local bureaucracy often stalled federal security projects, leaving the perimeter open to unauthorized movement and infiltration. This lack of oversight was exploited externally. Pakistan's ISI used the gap for demographic infiltration, while Bangladesh relied on the open border as a relief valve for its own economic and population pressures. The previous political regime inadvertently maintained a covert border system that served the strategic interests of India's neighbors. Data shows the scale of this problem. Since 2014, authorities have recorded over 7,500 official infiltration attempts along this stretch of the border. This reached a crisis point in early 2025, when regional instability drove a spike of more than 10,100 reported cases. Previously, the state government blocked the border security force from acquiring the land needed to secure the perimeter. The new political alignment in the state removes that bureaucratic hurdle. New Delhi is now hardening the entire line, replacing open spaces with continuous barbed wire fencing and a network of smart sensors. This physical and administrative shift converts the Bengal border into a strictly militarized perimeter. Beyond the fence, the government is deploying legal tools like the CAA and the NRC. These laws were fiercely opposed by the state's previous leadership. By auditing and documenting the status of residents, the state identifies those already inside, removing the incentive for future illegal crossings. At the same time, the Act East policy is being used to modernize the region's logistics, shifting the strategy from passive defense to active economic control. The budget for Northeast Railways has increased fivefold to over 10,000 crore. This funding has built integrated checkposts like the Agartala-Akhaur link. When legal trade and travel are channeled through these modernized, monitored checkpoints, illegal pathways lose their cover. Pairing rigid legal mandates with high-capacity infrastructure creates a system that permanently restricts covert operations. This context explains the rhetoric coming from Pakistan. The narrative of an imminent war is a decoy used to distract their own citizens from severe domestic economic failure. Their actual fear is strategic: the permanent loss of the eastern corridor they use to pressure India's internal security. Similarly, Bangladesh's alarm over a refugee crisis reflects a fear of taking responsibility for their own population. Bangladesh is currently facing a political and economic collapse. Their government lacks the capacity to absorb a returning population. The panic in foreign media is not a warning of an Indian attack. It is a public admission of internal vulnerabilities exposed by a closed border. Securing this single-state border has neutralized the long-term foreign policies of two neighboring countries. While political speeches are temporary, physical infrastructure and border walls create a permanent change on the ground. By aligning local governance with federal security mandates, New Delhi has gained total control over the border policy. This shift has replaced a porous buffer zone with a rigid, state-controlled border system, permanently altering the security framework.